What's up, family, and welcome to another episode of Triple Double. We have a very loaded show for you today. We're going to get into some NBA, some NFL. We need to talk football, good hoops. I have Sean here, pretty dapper with the suit and tie. I have Steve here. You fellas ready to get into it?
Oh yeah.
That's what's up. How y'all
Let's
feeling
roll.
today?
Let's roll.
I'm
I'm
good.
good. I'm good.
Right.
Okay, all right. Let's.
I know a lot of people is looking forward to the Brooklyn Nets story with Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving. Two great friends. I know a lot of people are trying to see if LeBron and the Lakers are going to repeat. I think they have a high chance of that. But what I'm most excited for this season, I really want to see what the Golden State Warriors are getting ready to do. I mean, they are still considered a dynasty. They still have three main pieces, four main pieces to their dynasty, in the coach of Steve Kerr, Draymond Green,
Right.
Klay Thompson, who's injured, and we're waiting to see what's getting ready to happen with that story, and also Stephen Curry. And I really want to see what Steph Curry is going to do. I'm not the biggest Steph Curry fan, but I know a lot of people that loves him and loves his game. But before the injury, before the last championship run when they went against Toronto, they were the most exciting story. They were the most exciting team, and you can argue that Stephen Curry was one of the most exciting players to watch. He's raining threes from everywhere. He can pull up from 40 at any given moment. You know what I'm saying? He got Damian Lillard trying to do it now.
Don't do
LeBron
that. Don't
James
do that.
pulling from the logo.
Don't do that.
If Steph wouldn't have never
Don't do
did
that.
that to the game, he changed the game.
Don't.
We wouldn't have never seen none of this stuff. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how exciting are they getting ready to be and what he can do without the help of Klay Thompson.
You are disrespectful. You are highly disrespectful. You got the nerve to bring up Damian Lillard, who's also about to make a huge case for MVP this year. Okay, let's go ahead and let's knock that out. I mean, he's gonna be about top 5 at least, behind Kevin Durant and so many others. Anyways, no, it's gonna be Kevin Durant by far. By far, it's gonna be Kevin Durant. Never before we have seen a star of his magnitude come back from an Achilles injury just like this. I mean, I got a few names here. I'm sure you may know Chauncey Billups.
I don't know.
Nah, you don't know Chauncey. You live here, man. Chauncey Billups, Kobe Bryant, and DeMarcus Cousins. And this is the thing. It's like with Kevin Durant, last year he averaged 26, 6, and 6. You know what I'm saying? And so for him to come back, he's gonna bounce back off this Achilles injury and go crazy. I'm thinking at least 36 and 6. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely gonna ball even way more better because now he don't got Stephen Clay taking all the shots. So now he's about to be shooting. He's about to be shooting lights out.
That's
you know what I'm
crazy.
saying? 17 for 22, 30 points. I mean, it's going to be easy. It's going to be easy, man.
I get what you're saying. I love it. I love Kevin Durant. He's a great player. If I was to make a case, I can make the case that he's the greatest player in the world. But to me, he's not. I don't think he's going to
You
return.
sound like a fool,
That's
man.
what you mean.
You sound like a fool.
This is why, man. It's hard to come back from that type of injury. That's a crazy injury to come back
Absolutely.
from, and
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be the same. I think 36 and 6 is a little too high ceiling for him. I feel like.
No, 36 and 6.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
30 points,
Okay.
6 to 6 rebounds.
Okay.
The main three stats. But I feel like he's going to come back and give us 25, 5, and 5.
Oh,
I feel like
my
I mean, he's with Kyrie.
What?
Kyrie Irving is a poison, man. He's a poison. He played with
Dude.
LeBron James. He's played with King James, and they couldn't out of 3 final runs. Out of 3, I know it's 4. I'm sorry. Out of 4 final runs, they only won 1. He's
You're
a
right.
poison,
You're
man.
right.
He's a poison. And I know one of the years he was hurt, but he
Right.
still had 2 other chances to prove to the world, Mr. Big Shot, when he hit the shot over Clay, to prove
Yeah.
to the world,
Yeah.
that he could do it. He couldn't hold up his end of the bargain. LeBron was leading every category in certain series, and all of that stuff. Man, come on, man. That's silly for
And
you to even
let
say.
me just chime in here, fellas, because I feel like Steve makes a great point because
does.
you do have to consider injury. There is no way that you can talk about the most exciting story and you feel like the Nets are going to be further than they were with KD. And I feel like it's legitimate because you have Kevin Durant. You know what he's capable of. You know that he's going to get you automatic buckets. However, you're pairing him with injury-prone Kyrie Irving. That's the first thing. And the second thing is Kyrie. LeBron made it work in Cleveland with him and Kyrie. He could not make it work in Boston. Somebody has to be accountable for that, Sean.
Points proven.
Okay,
Points
and
proven.
that's totally fine. I get that. But at the end of the day, he's fighting for the number one spot with Jason Tatum, who's an upcoming star. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be friction there. You know what I'm saying? Because he's coming from somewhere where he was once the number two guy. Now he's trying to come over and be the number one guy to a Tatum, who's an upcoming star. So, I get it. I totally understand it. But now that he's going to be with his best friend, you know what I'm saying? And not only that, they got DeAndre Jordan too. It's gonna be easy.
Can I
It's
just
gonna
make
be
one
Team
point?
USA.
Can I make one point, Nicole? I know we got to wrap it up and move to the next topic. But them being best friends have nothing to do with it.
It
Because
does. Team
that's
chemistry.
on the outside of the court, not on the inside. We can go ahead and go.
You know what?
Okay,
You lucky
fellas.
We gotta go. I have some more meat for you.
Okay, fellas, I know it was starting to get good. So on the same lines, so along those lines, answer me this. What team do you feel like takes a step back when the season restarts? Because we have all of these great things going on. Players have been shuffled around, but not really like we've seen, free agency go. So what we have going on right now, blockbuster trades and everything like that, what team do you feel like takes a step back? I'll go ahead and start off with you, Sean.
Oh, easy. Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah, it's nothing else to be said. Milwaukee. Easy. The number one thing that Giannis needs, and I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of people don't talk about it, is veteran leadership. That's all he needed in a true point guard. Eric Bledsoe was not that. I mean, I'm sorry. He's a good 3-and-D guy. That's just about it. But, he needs a true point guard, somebody who can actually learn the game from and learn court vision and, so much more. I mean, I feel like with these upcoming teams like – you have Atlanta, you have the Wizards, who are going to be making some great cases this year, for that top 5 spot. So I don't see Giannis being comfortable at all as a Buck this year. I mean, he's going to do his job. But I see his numbers plummet. They're not going to be the number one seed this year. Yes, they're definitely taking a step back. I'm sorry.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it my turn?
Absolutely.
That had to be one of the most foolish statements I've ever heard in my life. This is why. Let me give you some real facts. Giannis is by far one of the top 5 best players in the league. He's coming off of reigning MVP. Back-to-back years.
I give you that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. If you look at the storyline of his career, and I know he can't shoot at this magnitude. I know he's not even the facilitator of this magnitude. But if you look at the storyline of his career, it's similar to LeBron's. He's starting off young. You know what I'm saying? Back-to-back MVPs. LeBron won his first 2 MVPs in 2009 and 2010. Giannis just did it in 2019 and 2020. So he ended the decade and started the decade. Same way LeBron did. I mean, the magnitude of this guy is high. He's on the weak East. The Bucks, no, they have not improved, but the East isn't all that great. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Boston is taking a step back. And I also feel like, this is another team that you might not agree on. I also feel like Denver is taking a step back. But,
Wow.
That's another story for another day. They didn't add any pieces. Both them and Boston are stagnant, and they needed more pieces. And I feel like, if they're going to become better, Jason Tatum isn't enough. Jamal Murray and Jokic isn't enough. So I feel like those are the 2 teams that did not improve, and I feel like they might not be as great as they were.
Steve, I feel like you were just really, really disrespectful.
Very highly.
Are you all ready to put Giannis's name fluently in the same sentence as LeBron James?
Wow.
Exactly.
Am I missing something?
My point
He
on LeBron James is not the whole fact of him being that similar to him as far as the game or even as far as the name, but he is a great player. I'm saying already you're mentioning this guy in the top 5. I mean, you can only really say so many people are better than him.
Okay,
Kevin Durant, LeBron, maybe Kawhi, maybe Harden, but
Okay, so let me give you something. Besides Drew Holiday, did they add any great pieces to their lineup?
No.
Absolutely not.
But they're on the East.
Absolutely
That's it.
not. And the same thing for Jason Tatum, but you lucky we gotta go because I got some more heat for you. It's
Yes,
all right.
yes, fellas, we do have to go. We're actually going to switch gears here. We're going to go over to the NFL. It's a lot of things popping and going on for football as well. So, what I was wondering, fellas, is can the Pittsburgh Steelers continue the season with a perfect 16-0 record? And in addition, is that 16-0 record going to matter if they don't make it to the Super Bowl? Or if they don't actually win the Super Bowl, I should say.
I'll go first. Definitely they're going to go 16-0. Easy. It's nothing else to talk about. If you look at their schedule, they have a home game against the Washington Redskins tomorrow, who is also 4-7. They going against Buffalo Bills, 8-3, Cincinnati. And you have Indianapolis Colts, and they end the season with a win against the Cleveland Browns. I feel like this is just going to be easy. I don't feel like Baker Mayfield is going to be enough when it comes down to when the chips is being on the line and they stop Nick Chubb. Can his arm get the job done? Absolutely not. I'm not giving it to him. I'm not giving you Josh Allen as well, who has a great defense. He has a great defense, but Josh Allen, Roethlisberger. Come on, man. Come on now. It's nothing else to be said about that.
I feel like, and I do feel like they have a great chance. I'm not going to lie. I do feel like they have a great chance to being 16-0. My only problem with their schedule is it is more so of a cakewalk. I mean, their last 5 games is not that hard. But I do feel like the Bills and the Colts have a great chance of upsetting them.
Phillip Rivers?
Yes, Phillip Rivers. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
The
Phillip Rivers, the same Phillip Rivers that came back on Aaron Rodgers a few weeks ago.
Oh,
that
my
Phillip Rivers.
gosh.
I mean, if he can do it against Aaron Rodgers, who's leading the league in touchdowns, in touchdown passes.
Who's also overrated. Go ahead.
Are you serious?
Oh, yes.
No, that's blasphemous right there. Like, that's really
highly serious.
Are you serious?
Very overrated.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers is an MVP. How can you say he's overrated? But that doesn't answer the question. I'll get back to that later. Let me stay on topic. I do feel like Phillip Rivers can upset them in that last week. I do feel like that.
Okay, no, I highly disagree. When you compare Phillip Rivers, when it comes down to defense on the field, okay, both defenses are like in the top 10 for sure, by far. But when you compare to adding points on the scoreboard, I'm not putting my faith in Phillip Rivers, not at all. You know what I'm saying? And that's also that's a home game. That's a home game. It's not going to be easy for Phillip.
But answer this: you don't think Josh Allen has what it takes to beat that team? I think he
does. He have what it takes. He has the potential. He's close. He has the pieces. He just doesn't have the experience, and that's the greatest teacher. So I'm going to just go ahead and roll with Roethlisberger.
But you have to think, Sean, the Steelers are also coming off of a very sloppy win to the Baltimore Ravens with a depleted team. Okay. So I need a little bit more from you on this 16-0.
Win in the win and loss column?
Oh my God!
I doubt that. I doubt that. All I see is W's and L's and ties. That's all it is. So no matter what it is, as long as you get the job done, I mean, hey, it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about that.
I do want to touch this though, because I did hear what Nicole said. She did ask, are they going to, if they do become 16-0? Is this going to play a part of their playoff run? I don't think there's Super Bowl potential, though. I don't think they're going to win. I think I actually like Pat Mahomes and them a little better. I like the Kansas City Chiefs a little better. I like my boy Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers and what they doing over there in the NFC. You know what I'm saying? I also even like, the Saints. I like them as well. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. The way that they're holding up without Drew Brees, stuff like that. I like those teams. I don't think, that Ben Roethlisberger and them can really hold off to the Super Bowl.
It's going to be Ben Roethlisberger versus Patrick Mahomes in the AFC. I just want you to know that.
I'm happy you said that.
I want you to understand that. Because I don't see – there's not going to be nobody else that can be able to beat this 16-0 team. And so, I mean, if they do fall short – absolutely, I'll give you Kansas City. I mean, who doesn't fall short to Kansas City? I mean, he's also a Hall. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is also a Hall of Famer. I'm calling him a Hall of Famer already.
Oh yeah, most
absolutely.
Definitely. I
absolutely.
agree. He's playing the game, just like I said on the last topic. You know, he's exciting, just like Steph Curry. I mean, he's throwing the ball sideways, flicking it this way. You know what I'm saying? Putting it behind the back, clowning. You know, he's doing all of that stuff. He's changing the game. You know what I'm saying? With Tom Brady, he's more conservative, and you know what I'm saying? You know, things like that. I do feel like Pat Mahomes has what it takes to be the best player to even ever touch a football in that quarterback position. I do feel like he has what it takes. You know,
over
if he
Tom Brady,
if he wins more championships, I mean, he has a whole
how many?
He has a whole career.
Because you already giving him Hall of Fame status. So,
Yeah,
I mean, he's obvious.
He has to do. Of course, he has to get the 6.
Okay, so he has to get to 6.
He has to. He has to at least.
So if he hits 5, you're not giving him over Tom Brady.
Not at all.
Okay, perfect. That's all I need to know. As long as you don't give it to Pat Mahomes on that.
So if he hits 5 Super Bowl championships, you're not giving it to him over Brady, who was married in football to Bill Belichick, one of the greatest coaches ever. You're not going to take into account, Steve?
Well, actually, you know, I'm not the biggest Tom Brady fan, but you have to give it to him because of his stats. I'm not the biggest Tom Brady fan.
Of course.
You know, I actually like doing that stench. Yeah. I liked it Peyton a little more. I mean, that was just me. Yeah. But I will say, I mean, even if you look at Peyton's numbers were crazy.
Peyton was always great in the season. Let's not forget that.
Anyways, like I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by Sean. You know, you need to control your analyst, Nicole. Anyways, before I was rudely interrupted, I do feel like, though, and I'm going to wrap this up a little bit, I do feel like, you know, Tom Brady, as great as he is, you know, they had a lot of stuff to deflate. You know, the watching people plays, you know, that year when they went undefeated, all of that stuff. That's cheating. I mean, it was Bill Belichick, but he has something to do with it.
What that got to do with Tom?
That made him look as great as he I mean, he was great regardless, but it made him look a little better. So I feel like if Pat gets to 6, he's the greatest quarterback of all time.
Understood. So since we're talking about Tom Brady, I want to know this because this has been so controversial. So answer me this, fellas, and I'll start with you, Steve. Who is more to blame for the Buccaneers' struggles? Is it Tom Brady or is it coaching? Because we've heard so many reports about how, you know, Brady is calling plays, and a lot of people want to blame this on Bruce Arians, and I'm not so sure that I want to go that way. So who is most to blame for the Buccaneers' struggles right now?
Bruce Arians is a great coach. I will say that. He's a great coach.
You serious?
I really like Bruce Arians. He's a great coach.
Okay.
He was great with and without Tom Brady. I mean, you know, the fact of the matter is the Buccaneers look good regardless. I mean, they're a good team. You know, they have the pieces. You know, they have the weapons. If I was to really put a blame on anybody, though, you know, even Tom Brady, he's holding up his end of the bargain. I feel like Brady, he's holding up his. I know that's your guy. You know, I know you're going to argue for him. Yeah. I do feel like he's holding up his end of the bargain. My only problem with Brady is he's second on the interception list after Carson Wentz. Okay. So does that not play a part of you being to blame? It's not so much always on the play calling. It's about who's on that field. He is the master on that field. He's the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? This is when he controls the field is because he's the quarterback. He's the reason the field is controlled. Right. So he needs to control his offense. If you look at that Kansas City game, if you look at it, the defense kind of held up their end of the bargain on a lot of possessions. They had, they have a great defense. You know, Kansas defense was even doing good, of course, because Tom Brady threw a couple picks, but that's a whole other story for another day. Okay. But I do feel like, you know, if I don't want to play the blame game. They have a great team overall. If I was to blame anybody, though, I would not blame coaching. I'll more so blame Tom Brady.
You're a fool. Here's the reason why. First of all, it's coaching, by far. No risk it, no biscuit. No. It's one of the stupidest mottos that I've ever heard. I've never heard of that. And the reason for that is that specific reason is the reason why Tom Brady has thrown that many interceptions. If he wants to he has to keep Bruce Arians happy. He wants to keep throwing it. Bruce Arians is used to it being thrown down the field. He wants it 40 yards deep in the air and all that. That's not what Tom does. That's not his game.
His arm not as strong as it was. That's
I don't know about that. I'm not giving you that. I'm not giving you that. But what I will say is that no risk it, no biscuit motto is just it's foolishness and it's silly because how can Tom be himself and still win if he's trying to make his coach happy under the scrutiny that he's also getting from his coach, which is also lowering his confidence. He's talking about him in the media. I mean, how can a great player of his magnitude still play under those type of conditions if your coach is definitely is telling you, oh, he doesn't make those he makes those passes in practice? Are you serious?
Shine, you're giving excuses. You're giving excuses.
Thank you.
You're giving
No.
excuses. What do you mean? How is he supposed to play under that scrutiny? Every quarterback should play under that scrutiny and still achieve. Nobody is out there throwing that ball, and I love Tom Brady, but nobody is out there throwing that ball to the other team except for Tom Brady. The Buccaneers right now are sitting at 7-5.
Okay.
It's bad.
If-
I had them. They already had 5 losses. I had them finishing the season at 11-5.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay, and they're gonna finish the season
That's-
11-5.
That's silly, man. But this is the truth. This is the truth because I know that's not his game. Throwing the 40 yards, he can't throw like he used to. All of these things. But look at Pat Mahomes. He only has 2 interceptions in this season. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes he has to gun it up the field like that. So the little risky, no biscuit, all that good stuff. All of that is great, fine and dandy. But him playing under that scrutiny. If you're a great player, you're always playing under scrutiny, no matter how. And he's considered the GOAT of football.
Absolutely.
He's automatically, under the radar
Absolutely.
of playing under scrutiny. Allen Iverson ain't the greatest basketball player of all time, but he was under scrutiny because he had, Coach Brown talking about him in the media. Oh, he ain't showing up for practice. But he still came out and gave you them 30 points,
Okay.
a couple assists, a couple of steals.
So can I ask you this? Is Tom Brady not 43 years old?
Oh,
Oh, but I mean, come on. Can we be honest here? Can we be honest here?
and he's
You know
choosing
what
to
I'm saying?
play at 43.
I didn't call Tom Brady and say,
Tom
hey,
Brady-
Tom, I want to see you on my screen every Sunday. He chose to do that. And since he on the screen, I'm going to hold him accountable.
My thing is you can't compare the physical ability to Patrick Mahomes to Tom Brady. I mean, it's a 20-year difference.
He's an NFL pro, right?
He is. Absolutely.
So I can compare him.
Absolutely. He's a GOAT. He's a GOAT by far, but is he at the end of his prime?
Is he still in the
Absolutely.
league?
Absolutely.
He
yeah.
should be compared then.
I mean, he
automatic.
can be compared in some cases, but not in all cases.
He's the blame, Sean.
He's
If
not.
anybody's
It's
to
the
blame-
coach. It's the coach. I'm telling you.
All right.
There's nothing
Hey,
else to be said.
we gotta
All
wrap
Shine,
Bruce
Shine, you're
Arians,
making
I can't do it.
excuses. You're
I can't do
making excuses.
Get him out of here.
Let's switch gears again. This is good, fellas. Let's switch gears again because we have a lot of things still going on in the NBA. Just horrible news about Klay Thompson for the 2nd year in a row. Him rupturing his Achilles. Just so terrible for a player of his magnitude. So answer me this. Can Steph Curry make it all the way without his counterpart, without the other half of his splash brother, Klay Thompson?
I actually want to dive into that first because, it's kind of a rocky answer for me, Sean. It's a rocky answer for me because I'm not the biggest Steph fan, but I do, give him his kudos. I do give him credit for what he has done for the game. His ability to shoot the 3, he can really shoot. I love him off the dribble. He's actually my favorite ball handler of all time. You know what I'm saying? He can get to the cup, pass anybody. I like the way, Steve Kerr actually coaches him, but I don't think they are going to be the contender that they once were. I don't think that. It's the most exciting story to me as well, though, because I want to see if he can. I want him to prove me wrong, but I don't think, without Klay. I mean, this is a guy who can get 60 in a few dribbles. You know what I'm saying? You're talking a guy who heats up, and, I can make a case and an argument out of every player in the NBA that has ever even touched the NBA court, heated up. I don't know anybody as good as Klay. I mean, he's doing it easy. I mean, no dribble. All I got to do is just catch and shoot. So, I mean, I don't know what Steph can possibly do. He's also coming off of an injury. I mean, he had a lot of stuff going on off the court, with, him and his wife. So I want to see I really want to see what's going to happen, but I don't think they're going to be the Golden State, who was a top 2 team, a top 1 team, at one point automatically. So I do really want to see what he's going to do, but I don't think he can.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. They're not going to be that team. It's too much firepower in the West. It's just too much. It's too much. You have, also the Phoenix Suns, who's also, hey, it's more talent out there. Devin Booker is actually about to have a leadership. He's going to have leadership on this team with Chris Paul added to a new addition to his squad. You also have the moves of Dallas, who is a great team. Clippers. So I just don't see it just without Clay. I don't see it at all. Clay was a huge piece to Curry's success, in my opinion. A lot of times Curry has been bailed out because of Klay Thompson. The game
true.
6 against OKC, and so I believe that with Clay being out, it's gonna have a lot of pressure. It's gonna cause a lot of pressure to be on Steph Curry, and if he has the ability to pull that team out of the West.
Yeah.
And when I'm sorry, Steve. I just want to get in here. When you say that Curry has been bailed out by Clay, this is my thing. Stephen Curry was voted unanimous MVP.
Right.
Why is he not held to the same scrutiny as other MVPs? I just don't feel like his feet have been held to the fire, specifically at one point for you to have like 4 all-stars on your team.
Right.
You, Draymond, Kevin Durant, and Clay. I just don't feel like he's ever been held to that fire of a LeBron James or a KD or a Giannis Antetokounmpo. What do you all think?
He hasn't at all. He has not been to that level of scrutiny, and this is where it's for the test. He's going to be tested with that this upcoming year. He's going to have those tests without Klay Thompson being there. He's actually going to go through those same struggles as a LeBron did, as a Kevin Durant did with Russell Westbrook, being his sidekick. So I believe definitely that this is going to be the year it's going to validate who Steph Curry really is. Is he really a star among stars, or is he, does he need a crime partner? So it's going to really say a lot about his game and who he is, according to this upcoming season.
I agree with that, and I want to see if he can prove me wrong. Like I said a little earlier in the show, this is really going to show how really good he can possibly be, to play without someone of that magnitude as the Kevin Durant, as the Klay Thompson. But, as far as the coaching, they do still have a great coaching staff in Steve Kerr, who knows how to win. So I do have them. Of course, they're going to, be a top 8 seed, but I just don't see them being the same Golden State Warriors. And my question also, just to piggyback a little bit, is, are they ever going to return back to being a dynasty again? You said something, though, Sean, that actually just pissed me off a little bit, because it kind of made your statement in football a little irrelevant, because you're talking about Chris Paul in Phoenix, and, I don't really think that's going to be as good as you think it is, because 35 years old in basketball is pretty old, just like 43 in football is old, and, you can play the quarterback, into your 40s. You know what I'm saying? To play the point guard, which is the quarterback of basketball, at that age, it's a little pressure on him. And I know what he just did in OKC, but I really want to see what he can do in Phoenix with the scoring power of Devin Booker. I do think he can do it, though. I like CP, but I don't really know what's going to happen.
A healthy Chris Paul will get you there. They're going to be top 5.
Keyword healthy.
A healthy Chris Paul, but
better than
goes
Golden
with
State.
Anybody. That can go with LeBron James. That can go with Kevin Durant.
Better than Golden State.
Healthy, yes, absolutely.
But Chris Paul is injury prone, though.
He has some history behind it, but I feel it's going to be less of a weight because he's going to have Devin Booker. So the fact that he has Devin Booker, who's a great star, who has been overlooked and everybody has underrated, I feel like he's going to definitely have some of that light, and it's going to be easier for him. So the thing is, when you get older, those things happen.
But Golden State just had one of the top draft picks. You know what I'm saying? James Wiseman. They still got Draymond. They still got Andrew Wiggins on their team.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like they got a few more pieces. So I see them both being in the 6-7 range. Maybe 5 if injury happen. But I just don't see Phoenix being like so much better than Golden State. I don't think that should have even been mentioned in the argument.
But I'm not saying that they'll be so much better than Golden State.
Mm.
I feel like they will have a better impact than Golden State by far. I mean, to see where I have Golden State, I'm looking at least 6.
Okay.
At least 6 seed. I mean, I have Chris Paul in the Phoenix top 5 for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm on the. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Devin Booker, but I'm not sure if I'm on the Phoenix bandwagon just yet. And it's not that I don't feel like they can be great. I just feel like you still have to respect the greatness of the Golden State Warriors. Like, we're literally talking about the Splash Brothers. And I understand that Klay is not in right now, but you have to take into account experience and chemistry together. So I think it's just going to be a lot to see. But just moving forward to our next topic, one that I'm really interested to see what Sean has to say. Listen. So my question is KD, or what is the expectations of KD as it relates to leading the Nets to the finals? And will it be a disappointment if he is not able to lead his team, which is the Brooklyn Nets, to the finals?
No.
Talk to me.
No, it's not going to be a disappointment due to the fact that this man is coming off an Achilles injury. I mean, can we give this guy some help? Can we at least give him a year? You know what I'm saying? So it's his first year. So coming back off an Achilles, but I don't feel it's going to be a failure by far. I mean, I gave you guys numbers over these past people who did have those Achilles injuries, and after Chauncey Billups, he went 20 games, 15, 2, and 4, after his injury toward Achilles. Kobe Bryant, 35 games, 22 points, 5 and 5. And DeMarcus Cousins, 30 games, 16 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like he's going to definitely contribute on a high level. So I don't see Kevin Durant this being a bad year for him, even if he doesn't get there. I don't see that.
I'm so sorry, Steve. Just a quick insert. Nobody has ever considered Chauncey Billups or DeMarcus Cousins the best player in the world.
Never.
Nobody has ever said that.
Have
I'm
they been
sorry.
in the MVP
I'm sorry,
MVP
Steve. Go
discussion?
ahead, Steve.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I mean, that was just great. You just summed up what I was getting ready to say. That was one of the most biased answers that I've ever heard in my life. Kevin Durant is your favorite player. And I understand that, so I get your answer going to be a little biased. I'm not saying he can't come back and do it. I'll rather come back to this, a few weeks within the season, because I don't know how he's going to return. I don't know how he's going to look. Can he do it? Yes. He's
Absolutely.
on the East. The weak East, of course. You know what I'm saying? The same East LeBron was once on, and y'all gave him havoc. Oh, he's on the East. He's going to the finals. It's a cakewalk. So, I mean, let's say the same stuff about Kevin Durant now that he's on the East, son. Can we please say that same stuff? But anyways, I am ready to see what he's going to do. Kyrie is with them. They still got LeVert over there. They got some good pieces. DeAndre Jordan, they looking good. Allen, great defender. Though Anthony Davis, every time he played him, was giving them the buckets and giving them the business. But that's another story for another day. So I can't wait to see that. But that's going to be box office. And if the NBA sets this up, correctly, to have Brooklyn, New York versus LA, Cali, that's just what the world has been waiting on. We've been wanting to see the Knicks and the Lakers for years. That's when Melo went over there. Kobe was still in LA. They were still pretty good. They was at the end of their reign. So I'm saying, we want to see that. That's box office. The money that the NBA will make will be crazy. And it'll be Kevin Durant and LeBron. They don't both have stacked teams. They do argue. You can argue it, but they both have, kind of similarities. LeBron probably a piece away, though, to match
does
KD.
Kevin Durant not get credit even if he goes far, even if he goes
Most
to
definitely.
That's all I
don't
that's
give
all
him
I
credit.
want.
I don't only
That's
give
all I
him credit
want.
because he's coming off the injury.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
you still have to implement,
Exactly.
Sean, that he's on the East. If he did it on the West, I'll praise him even higher.
So, fellas, my only gripe with still giving him credit when he's coming off of his injury. And don't get me wrong, an Achilles injury, I feel like everybody has, to have that time to come back. But let's take into account the additional 6 months that he has had. And also let's take into account how LeBron was crucified for his first year. Everybody's forgetting that the Lakers were the 4th seed in the West before LeBron got injured. But they wanted to crucify him about how they missed the playoffs when, the end of last season came around. So I just feel like LeBron, as it relates to other stars, is just held to a different standard. Like, how much pressure really should be on KD?
Okay, so my question to you is, are you comparing an Achilles to a growing injury?
I am not. What I'm saying...
Are you saying they're the same? What are you saying here? Because one can put you out for over a year and the other can put you out for 2 to 3 months.
What I'm saying is LeBron got no grace for the injury that he sustained, and he's not injury prone. He is Mr. Durability. What I'm saying is he didn't get any grace. So whatever injury it is, you should be able to obviously make it through, because that's the pressure that everybody held LeBron to, is what I'm saying.
But it's not an Achilles injury. Like, this is the injury that takes players out. This is the injury that ends people's careers, that ends players' careers.
But you
so
told me
you told
me he was going to be 36-6.
That's what you said.
No,
you told me he was going to be 36
If he gives you
and
36-6, I know. Can he still get credit for that? Please, can he still get credit for that? Coming off an Achilles injury,
if Kevin Durant gets 36-6, if he averaged that over the season, those are MVP numbers, by the way. He'd be literally a top 3 candidate. Which I do believe he can be a candidate. I don't know if he's gonna be top 3, but I do believe
he will.
He's great. He can shoot, and that's the plus side.
Right.
He's a 7-footer that can shoot, and so he really don't have to put a lot of pressure on his Achilles again. But that's the only reason why. But if he gets 36-6 like you're proclaiming, I'll buy you a new suit on me, and I get it tailored.
I heard it here first. Triple double.
And I get it tailored.
That is what we have for today, guys. We had a very loaded and packed show. We had a lot of topics. They're always going to be butting heads and going against each other. We look to see you again. Do not miss us the next time we are on. Thank you so much, family. We out.
All right.